Between Western psychology, psychiatry, and psychotherapy, and the so-called religions of Asia, there is common ground because both are interested in changing states of human consciousness. Whereas institutional Western religion, Christianity, Judaism, and even Islam are relatively less interested in this matter. Western religions are more concerned with behavior, doctrine, and belief than with any transformation of the way in which we are aware of ourselves and of the world. But this matter concerns psychiatry and psychology very much. Only those states of consciousness which are not normal are usually treated in Western psychology as being in some way sick. There are, of course, exceptions to this, and there have increasingly been exceptions.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. So I have missed a wonderful angel so far and didn't even realize it. I haven't to the full extent seen his full teachings, but Alan Watts popped up on my algorithm, and I began listening to him for a little bit, and I plan on listening to him a little bit more. Okay, buddy. It's okay. And in the midst of just listening to him for a moment, he sounds extremely caring. And not only does he sound caring, he's telling the truth. He's exposing what dark powers are here. As I've said, I've only listened to a little bit so far. And only any man can do is teach. So I agree with some of the things he's saying so far. So, but yeah, he's basically saying we're the gods. I mean, is that not what it says in that book that everybody follows? We're the gods. And I just want people to understand also, a while back I posted, I am the Messiah. Now, a lot of comments were deleted, and I don't hold grudges against people. I try not to. Unless if they're continually doing something, that's not holding a grudge, that's protecting myself and staying away from that type of behavior. But what I wanted to say was that I am the Messiah, that's a scripture. I'm trying to tell people that people will see certain things and go to attack. What they're attacking for is the spirit that they've built up on the inside. Now, we all have our belief systems and whatnot. And so I'll give an example. If I go up to a man on his video and leave a scroll and he gets upset at me or whatever, okay, my bad. I could even delete it if you want. But if I'm on a religious man's video and this scroll is the same thing that's in their books, that's where I start to get confused. And so then I go, okay, then I start to understand what's happening. Well, then when they start to say certain things, because for the most part, a lot of people heart that whole little flint knife that I leave on. When I say flint knife, I'm talking about that 10 Commandments that I leave on at the end of videos. I get that from the book of Joshua, I am salvation. Not the 10 Commandments or any of that stuff, but why I called it a flint knife. So what I am doing is circumcising the heart with words. And so when I do that, sometimes people won't, a person might not fully understand what is happening when they read certain things, but I am here to protect you. I am here to help you. If you start to sink, I am here for your benefits. I have a lot of different videos. As I've said, I am only a man, and so is everybody else. But at the same time, what I possess is greater on the inside. So when I say that I am not better than myself, I'm simply saying the automatic nervous system and the imagination is powerful when baptized properly. This isn't about physical water. It's about words. And so oftentimes I write poetry. But when I write poetry, people will think I'm not always attacking institutions. When you see me talking about certain things, I'm doing that to build myself up so I can have that same power on the inside. A lot of people just say a phrase like, be powerful. And they think, okay, now I'm powerful. You have to, okay, I am sorry for what I just said. Oftentimes when I'm doing something, I call it spiritual training. When I am spiritually training, what I am doing is not tempting who I am. Thou shalt not tempt who I am. Because if I tempt myself, I could then hurt myself. But if who I am lives life, when temptation comes, I can be prepared. That doesn't mean I have to go, whoa. But if somebody runs at me ready to attack me, better believe I'm going to go, whoa. Does that make sense? I am not teaching people to be violent or murderers. I am teaching people that everything a person does requires some form of training or experience. Even when you're first doing something, that's your training, that's your experience. And so this is why I'm telling people I am mercy, I am kind, and I am forgiveness, because oftentimes what I see in religion, as I've posted in the last video, somebody will do something and then virtually lose their minds, it seems like, and, and constantly be asking for repentance and forgiveness and all this other stuff. I am sorry for that. I am here for the confidence. And so think of me like a thief in the night. I am taking out certain things that I know for a fact is dangerous, and I am giving back confidence. You'll see me growling sometimes. I said in a poem, who is like the beast, say it with your diaphragm. Who can wage war against him? Oh, yeah. Okay, some people be like, oh my God, why did you just do that? And think I'm crazy, right? And then somewhere, someday, some whatever, some innocent person is going to be like, I can't. And then they're going to say, oh yeah. And they're going to be able to. If you use that to become dangerous, violence, or a murderer, as I've said before, I am bringing the name. So that's on you. I have told you all before, I stand behind the stone, the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill or rape, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not commit adultery, keep the honor thy father and mother, and keep the Sabbath holy. But also I deliver a couple of other things, like protect the child also, be sweet and kind to others, respect others, protect the elderly, the orphan, the widow, you know what I mean? He who is rich, help your brother, and fix society. That's like, why would I build a mansion, right? Nigeria. Why would I build a mansion and then across the street or across the river, all these people are living in it? So humans, yeah. So what I'm basically saying is, I'm not telling you that you got to go do all these things, and that's how people get hurt. They're trying to, if life is a whole journey, what people are doing is they're trying to get to heaven in a day, in a week, in a month. It's like, dude, live your life and do what you have to do, and let the words that you have learned remind you. And then so oftentimes I had a buddy, John Core Books, he said, riding in your ark above the waters. And so I'm going to tell you all, and I'm going to edify. What does the ark do? It hovers over the waters. What did the spirit at the beginning do? It hovered above the waters. I am who I am. I am sent me. I am the one who freed you from the bondage of slavery, from the torment of Egypt. You shall have no other gods before who I am. You shall not have any idols in the heavens, the heart, the earth, the flesh, or in the sea, the deep conscious, or in these deep books I call ocean water, if you take the whole thing in. So when I say that also, you know what I mean? When I say idols, I'm not like, you guys can be fans and do stuff and have love for stuff. What I'm saying is the people that go insane over people, when they act psychotic and stuff like that, it's unnecessary. It's not who I am. People are being programmed to be like that. You see all these superstars on the TV and people fainting and losing their minds, and oh my goodness, they need security just to walk down the street because of the love of money, survival, their status, just idols. You're turning men into gods and stuff, and they're walking all over the earth. And then you guys would be like, the Nephilim are back, and then be like, oh, you gotta go see Britney Spears. It's like, do y'all not see what's happening? Like, come on, bro. Y'all don't think this wasn't happening a long time ago? So then No disrespect to Britney Spears. I'm just using that as an example. You know what I'm saying? She got that one song. Man, y'all don't. Because I'm not going to sit on camera and be like, I'm a gangster G, Jay-Z, do. You know what I'm saying? Pac and Jay and all them. Every once in a while, you know that Britney Spears hit the, oops, I did. I'm not finna. And then you got the NSYNC, the Bye Bye, all that. When we was kids, we used to go to the pool and they would play all the 90s rock and stuff on the, you know what I'm saying, a whole spectrum of life, you know what I mean? But then some people are trapping themselves in cages. Oh, the rest of the arc. I'm sorry. I just started talking about the arc and then okay. Um, I don't mean to burn up any clean things. So see, you'll see Noah burnt up 7 animals. I'm sorry, the Son of Man is upset, if that makes sense. I don't know if you can truly understand what I just said. Like when it says, I laid their dead in the streets and they trampled over the witnesses. I'll continue this later. Yeah, so as I was saying, like how the witnesses was both trampled over, love and forgiveness, and then the 10 Commandments, you know what I'm saying? John and Moses. So, then you got, thou shalt not bow down to them, don't worship them. You know what I'm saying? For I am jealous like a husband over his wife, a strong jealousy. And then you got, I said the fourth, do not take who I am in vain. Don't take the name in vain. The third and fourth generation got cooked off playing with the name, but then the fifth and sixth learned that it's about righteousness and love and forgiveness for real. Because what you perpetuate now is going to keep coming over and over unless you change it. Because if you change the hearts, especially at a young age, what ends up happening is the whole land can change. So people just think because they're not religious, this don't apply to them. You got those like alcoholic parents, and I'm not saying alcohol is bad. I'm using that specifically at people that get like super drunk, sloppy drunk, and hitting on kids, and or people in religion hitting on kids and just being violent and oppressive, because then the child learns that type of behavior and then they grow up and they exemplify that type of behavior, and then what ends up happening is people become violent by nature, and then when they get older and try to uninstall that type of program, what ends up happening is they end up getting, it ends up being harder because you have to condition yourself into a new behavior, if that makes sense. And so when I say that you don't have to do anything, what I am saying is I'm just giving righteous advice, and anything I can ever give is only just a light. I'm not the king of all people in the sense of I can force you to do something, nor do I want to persuade people and talk to people and then have them off doing things that's not proper for living life in society. And so, I mean, if you want to go, like, life is life, so I can't tell people what to do. I just am concerned for people and I'm trying to help. So, yeah, basically what I'm saying is everybody's got their own thing, and I suggest people start to love themselves, and that's what I want to talk about. Self-love, self-confidence, self-ego. Like, it's not that we shouldn't have those things. What I keep telling people, those things need to be refurbished, if you will, because a lot of our disc players have been running on the wrong type of hardware for so long. So then what needs to happen is the technician needs to come in, sort of speak, through the spirit, and the technician has to rearrange the mainframe, if that makes sense. So when I say that, I'm just simply giving metaphors. I'm not I'm not an actual physical technician, and that's what I'm trying to teach people to do with the Bible. Actually, I'm trying to teach people to learn how to be children of the name. So when I say that, I am who I am. And so each of us has our own individual plate to eat from. And so then when we go to different words, books, and that's why I tell people I'm not just here for Christians. I can refine any book if I need to, depending on, but like if it's like a super murderous book, I'm telling people, like, I'm warning you, like, the wisdom that I give off, each other give off, may not stay around forever. But those words could possibly be in books forever. And so what's happening is you just got to be careful with certain things. Even people that create horror stories and stuff, see, those are mythologized, those are stories. But as I tell people before, until certain religions mythologize certain things and actually realize that they are the ones with the power, each individual, they're going to continue to send people to and fro, because like I keep telling y'all, the pastor can tell y'all all the stuff in church, but people are still going to read these books at home. And when they read these books at home, they're trying to be subservient to the spirit that's being cooked into their hearts. And if they don't live up to that spirit, and or are super subservient to a certain spirit, they don't even realize that they're following a certain line of code that they picked up and are unaware of it. So I'll give you an example. I could listen to this pastor all day, blah, 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 blah. Nothing wrong with that, whatever, if that's what you're into. But then when I get home, if I go read certain scriptures that tell Samuel to do what to tell a king to go slay everything off a vine, and then I go to a spot where it says, he who disobeys me and all these punishments, and then I go to where it says, you better cook your eye or else you're going to burn in the refinery. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're picking up that stuff out of fear. And then you don't even realize fear is what's leading you to do that, because you believe it's you following the will of a God to be afraid of him. And so that's what I'm trying to help people with. I've noticed videos in the past of YouTubers there will be a person living in a car or on the streets or making all type of crazy videos, and people are standing over them doing reaction videos of them, just like hundreds of them, just mocking them and mocking. Neither of you, like, the person doing the crazy stuff is there, then the person doing the reactions is there. Then it's like people are throwing them change from the street. Here you go, dance, dance, monkey, Like, do y'all not see what I'm saying? Y'all could be healing the world, but y'all are in a perpetual loop of attack, attack, attack. Then the people that's higher than them, when they go to work, because they're the ones throwing you money, so they work somewhere. Then when they go to work, am I doing this right? Am I doing this? Yes, boss. Yes, boss. Yes, master. Then the bosses above them, the CEOs, stomping on these people. So everybody's stomping on each other. For what? I am peaceful. I am loving. I am kind. I am who I am. I don't need that other stuff in my mind. It is for who I am not. That stuff is kind of hot. And when the refinery comes, it could take my spot. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to teach as many people as I can. Flee from that foolishness if you can. And if you can't understand, I'm sorry. See, I started lagging. I'm sorry, because I can't tell people what to do, and some people are living in environments that are sad. So I'm confident that will change, and I'm confident the world will become a better place, and I'm confident the world is a better place and changing now. And so, you know, I just want people to realize that we each have a disclaimer. I don't advocate for marijuana. But if you're of age, I do smoke it. But you see me, okay, bro, having fun. But when I first smoked it, I went through that process. It was like, freaking out. What do they call it? Paranoid stuff. It's like, a little random weird stuff. But yeah, it's cool now. It's like a paintbrush, and the inside is the brush, and I am the colors, and so whatever the inside is painting, that is what I will become, so to speak. And I can have a coloring book, a book of stories, poetry. It's all going to be stories anyway. So that's why something happened when I started really understanding reality. When I say reality, I don't mean like something. As I got older, I started to realize something after all these things that I'm experiencing. I started to realize that everything is a story. All truth is subjective. I'm telling you guys, the only real stone is being kind to others. Don't break that first law, so to speak. Because I'll give you an example. So I can't just say don't break the first law. I'm gonna get a whole 10 commandments, but we have decisions on the inside, right? So this is for non-duality and duality people now. Because I looked up into some of that stuff, and it's basically Ultra Instincts from Dragon Ball Z. Shout out Goku and Toriyama. So basically, what people are trying to do is think of the beginning of Adam and Eve, how it said, "You will be worse than the animals and cursed." And so, who I am is against that foolishness at the moment, and I said there will be no more curses. So, anyways, as I was saying, when I conceptualize that, so this isn't a concrete teaching. When I conceptualize that, so at first, as a human, we're picking fruits off trees, hunting antelope, whatever. We're just doing with nature. Then we created language, written language, an anomaly, because I don't want to say it's an accident, because it happens, so it is. And so this is also what I tell people. There is no such thing. So I like to teach people, don't look at life as that something's already been written and it's going to happen. That's non-forgiveness. I'm telling you it is. Try to imagine life as in, I am choosing my destiny constantly. They say time is, but it's constant. That's how the story is. And so if I am constantly vigilant, not in a way where I'm fighting, but vigilant as in clear, and can understand, see, hear, and listen, he with an ear who can hear, then life will be much more valiant. Life will be the life that who I am wants. And then that can be the life that I am manifesting. When I say that, I am not talking about magic. But if you like magic, then do whatever, as long as you're not hurting people. John Core books. So can you guys see how spirits work? For anybody who just saw. And I'm sure as he goes throughout his day, he sees it as well and does certain things. And anybody else who can see, I'm transparent. When I say that, I'm not glass, but that can be a beautiful metaphor. So, thank you, John, for helping me with so much of that inner anger. Because when people think of sin, this is their first instinct to do. This is their first instinct. Burn it off, sin, do for the Lord, do for the Lord. But if they would just shut up for 2 seconds and teach people to not harm other people and teach people to be kind and loving, then what's going to happen on the inside? Hey, remember to be kind and loving. Oh yeah, it was a mistake. I'm trying. Do not play with me with murder. I don't care how many people talk about peace and love in the tree of life. Do not play with me with rape. You think I'm playing? Go read David. He was a valiant man. But something happened. Paul. I believe in Paul's redemption, but I don't believe Paul's the word. It's one thing you can't play with. But, like I just said, I believe in Paul's redemption. I don't condemn to the grave. But Paul's not the word, because David's not the word. Does that make sense? So, anywho, David's got some beautiful poems. But I see a man named John the Baptist. And that man is teaching to love your brother. He's got a beautiful message. So, let's see here. Back to the situation. So it's like a hitter rod. And I am the fire. And I am the feeling after. So, all who can hear what I just said, I did not tell a million people to just go pick up some marijuana and smoke. But if that's what they do, well, they will make a Pontus out of me. Or should I say you? Who knows? Anyways, but I just like to talk to others, hear the birds hum. Because out of all the beautiful birds in the trees that hum and bee, David isn't greater than any of them. I could have said a flower in the field and went back to what my brother used to yield, but I like to stick to today because you all like to play. You all forget to hit start and like to go to the end. And then once there, rescind. It's like, all right, let me stop. Okay. Tree of life. I am giving the tree of life. I am telling them what's being manifested within. The Son of Man is upset, but they still looking for sin. So all I can ever do is be a light and a guide and try to show people that with. So I want to show you something interesting. They said John said he saw the Spirit walking towards him, and the Spirit said, "Baptize me, please." And John said, "It's you that I'm the one that needs baptized. What you talking about?" Okay. I had a dream years ago that there was like, I don't know how many there were. There was just different ones, and it wasn't more than 10. But these fireballs was coming down, and I was in a suburban neighborhood just walking around. It's a dream. All of a sudden, I look up and I'm like, whoa! I'm freaking out. I'm like, so then I look both ways, and it's coming. So then all of a sudden, it's like it stops out of nowhere with this huge smile on its face. So then I get stuck. I'm like, and then it starts swaying back and forth like it wasn't staring. It was just like swaying back and forth. So then I started swaying back and forth. It was like the most comforting feeling ever, and I woke up. So this is why I would tell people, there is a leaping hot set of coals coming towards those who are still under my angry judgment. Who I am can be forgiven at any time, just like it was said 2 days ago. I am just simply talking about when they turned BC to AD. They call it the event, and then they tried to make their own type of flint, and then with that foolishness and facade did rise a Roman pagan. So what I'm trying to say basically is that I am loving, I am forgiving, I am sorry for everything I've ever said and done. I am who I am, and I am ready to have fun. You see what I'm saying? So and I'm sorry that I say, do you see what I'm saying all the time? Because sometimes I do provoking things so that people can hear something on the inside. And when they hear it, gotcha, spirit. It's like Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? So that's why I tell people, don't be afraid of who I am. I say certain things to warn the land. So those who can hear what I say, come along and play. Also, a couple more things I want to talk about. I mainly like to talk about alarming verses that I hear people say. Once again, I just keep throwing this out in the air. What I have researched, you know what I'm saying? I am that which is, so who I am listens. So when I did research, I found out that hell came from Germanic paganism. Well, when I say that, the Anglo-Saxons are the Germans, the Frisians, the Breton. Well, the British and Breton is different, but that's later. And Dutch and all that stuff, you know what I mean? So then, when the Romans went up north to introduce the Anglo-Saxons, which eventually led to King Charlemagne and all these French and German people taking over Europe, what ended up happening was they needed a realm for Hades, afterlife. They keep talking about Satan. It's English. They needed a realm for Hades because they were going by the Greek gods and the Roman gods. So then now it's heaven and hell, but really they're talking about Zeus and Hades. And so then that you go even further back. So they introduced it into the English language, hell, for Satan's afterlife or Hades' afterlife. Well, there you go. Before that, that's where purgatory comes from. Also, they created limbo or something like that. So it's like, okay, whatever. Then you go even further. Then you have the Greeks, the Hades and all that, Barnabas, Zeus, and all these different gods. I mean, see, that's what I'm saying. They're unlocking legion into the word, just putting all these gods and phrases and sayings from Egypt and stuff into the stuff. Then you have before that Geohinium from the Israeli kings, and then that manifested into fire temples and fire worship and all that from the Phoenicians and the Zoroastrians and stuff. So from the Persians, and then they got a hold of. See how they say Michael had fire, Elijah had fire. That's when the Phoenicians and the fire temples. So I keep trying to tell you all with the best of my ability this knowledge and information, not to hurt you, but to teach you to stand above the waters, because all writings are for men. Anybody that comes up to you and tells you that the word of God, the Bible, was written by God, tell them, so then say this, say, you wrote it? And then they're going to say, what? Say, you wrote it? And they're like, what? I'm like, who is God? What does Elijah say? Who is like God? They're going to be like, God is the... Then ask him, who's God's name in the Bible? Ask him what Moses said. And they're like, well, Jesus, what did Jesus say? I am the Messiah. I am the bread of life. Who is Jesus? But the words from John the Baptist. His story. He turned the water to wine. That's why it's red. I'm trying to tell you all this stuff. Then they tried to kill him for his religion, the sinness of man. Since the beginning, murderers. See what I'm saying? They're like, a lamb had to die. Red cows have to get killed. So if a lamb has to die and red cows have to get killed, they don't even metaphorically know what they just said. That means I have to slay all the stuff that's in Aaron and Moses and destroy Jesus, the pagan god. Like Abel, offer up the firstborns of the flock. But I say, no, don't do that, because look what happened to them. Moses came for Jehohanan from the grave. And then after that, Jehohanan came for Moses with Peter and Paul. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just going to bring the name. And I'm going to expose all this foolishness. But then, as I've said, I'm not doing that to strike you. Oh, you're evil. No. I'm doing that to show you that there's a different way and you don't have to follow this firestorm of stupidity. There you go. So as I tell people before, where I go, don't seek to come. I am out here destroying this foolishness. There will be no need for destruction in the future. Give all these loving, kind words in your videos. Be free. Live your life. You think people in 100, 200, 300 years are going to be wanting to watch videos talking about the Lord God that said blah, 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 blah. They're going to be watching people like Linda's cooking videos. They're going to be watching people like Avalon's insights on AI and how he likes to chill and do certain things. They're going to be looking at how, what's that guy, Jordan, the creator, I think his name is in his house walking back and forth talking about be strong and stay and survive and live your life. They're going to be talking about the spiritual baddie and how she was sitting on her life helping people with each line. And then they might laugh at people like Mark the Messenger for talking about retain, retain, retain. Walking around streets calling everybody evil. They might laugh at a few people or two. But there's nothing I can do. You see what Omni was doing in the present. They're going to leave those other people comments little presents. Or they may just take it off the tube. I'm trying to tell all of you. So be kind and loving. You see these people that were great messiahs, now everybody's mocking them. Live your life and show. Because when I go read a history book, I like to know about what our forefathers was doing. So then when I open a history book and find out 100 million of our forefathers was killed because of the Pope's institution, ooh, buddy. Yeah. So I love you all. Stay blessed. And you don't got to follow these destructive words in the Bible. It's all a book. So you're not supposed to read certain words and say, this is God. You're supposed to understand and learn and grow and study. What did Goku do? He was an amazing fighter, but what was his wife doing? Making him go to work and get Gohan for his studies. So I'm not telling people that's how they have to live. That's a metaphor, an example. Honor thy father and mother and protect the child and respect others. You know what I'm saying? Be kind, loving, respectful. If a child is doing something destructive that could hurt them, okay. But if they start playing violin and picking flowers and stuff, if you call that child gay or a girl, you're going to manifest something because the parents have the most power. I'm telling you they do. They raise you, they influence you, and certain things can grow on the inside like a seed. And then later when you're attacking them for those certain things because Dad, I am, or Mom, I am, then you are the Lord good. Grow up. Treat people with love and respect and understand the world around us. Then we can manifest more beautiful things. Instead of locking ourselves in a box, I like to call Nebuchadnezzar's little house of torment. Pee-wee's house of fun. No disrespect to Pee-wee, but dude, you were kind of weird sometimes. All right. Yeah.